Sound check, sound check. Cool. That looks good. Hello. Oh, thank you. Thank you for telling me. That actually helps a lot because I do try to do a sound check every single time before I start, just in case. You never know what goes wrong. Magnetic. Yeah, I'm here. So there was a bear and a rabbit in the woods. Well, I have the bear. I don't have the rabbit. And I don't have the woods. Thank you. Pinfill. So sorry if I butchered your name. Pinful. Not sure what this is. Hello, Sasa. Hello. So how is everyone doing? How is everyone pulling together through this? I had a really intense long week with this Vellum thing. The Vellum Skin wasn't too bad. It's the next one on Thursday, the Vellum clothing and the draping, that took like, it knocked the wind out of me. I didn't realize how long it would take to recreate all the clothing patches. It was so insane. Let me see if I can pull up the little video, the teaser video I did. Let's see. Oh, let me turn down the sound. Okay. Ooh, that's too big. This there. Ah. Oh, this is the short one. No, not that one. Let's see. Clips, promo. Oh, this one. Yeah, this one is a bit longer. The draping stuff, like here, like all this stuff, that was insane. I didn't realize how hard this was to recreate all this. Hello from Russia. Alexia. Alexi. Hello. Cool FX. Hey. Sturley, hello. I'm trying to read all the names out. I hope I'm not I'm pronouncing them correctly. Please forgive me if I don't. If I don't get it right. Jojo, hey, you made it. I didn't think you would be here. I thought you were busy. How's your neck? It's still attached. It's still attached to the body, so I think it's okay for now. It has improved. I think it's the way the posture that I sleep. I changed my posture a bit, and it worked miraculously. It worked like magic. I was like Googling some stuff online, how like bad back pain, and one of the videos suggested that you should sleep with the pillow slightly below your neck so that it sort of gives it I don't know, some sort of structure underneath it, so you would it would alleviate some of the pain or some of the pressure off your neck while you're sleeping at night. And that actually did the trick. It did wonders. And also I got this little U-shaped thing to massage my back. Wow, I caught a live stream. Rudeski. Awesome. Welcome to the bubblepins live stream. Cool FX. What is a configuration of PC? Oh, I'm glad you asked. I actually did a blog post on it. So it's like engraved detail on, well, not that detail. Let me see if I can pull it up, because it has those nice little pictures and stuff of my CPU and how I had this really weird way of applying the cool cooling paste. I think it's, yeah, this one. Okay, it's this one. Just gonna bring it over. It's this blog post. So if you come over to my blog, the home page, if you come down here, just search Threadripper. It'll like be the first thing that pops up. Okay, it's thinking that it'll be this one. And this is this page. And this is me installing it. So I do have a Threadripper 3960, a 24 core one. I have very little RAM. I have 64 gigs of 64 gigs of RAM, which is not too much. I mean, it's better than 32 gigs. I mean, I think 32 gigs is like the minimum that you need to run simulations. I mean, you can run it with less, but you really need 64 gigs to really push the simulation like to a more visually pleasant level. The Threadripper. I really liked how it was so easy to install the Threadripper. They made it so easy. It's very well designed. There is only one drawback to the Threadripper, is that it cools differently from the traditional Intel ones. The traditional Intel ones, you cool it, the hottest area is the middle for the Intel CPU. So you put like a cross cooling paste on it. For the Threadripper, it's a little different because it's a rectangle shape. Well, first of all, it's a rectangle shape. It's not a square anymore. And the hottest areas are the corners. That's where the dies are. The CPU dies are. So I ended up doing this on it. This is just painter's tape. So I taped around the edges of the CPU chip and then I used like a business card to wipe down the paste so it has a thin layer so it would cover the entire CPU chip. And then just when you peel off the painter's tape, all the excess will come off and it won't ruin your motherboard or anything. So this was perfect, this way of installing it. Although this was quite intense, you don't have to cover the entire thing, I think, but it does get really hot. If you want to utilize most of the CPU, you want to cool it down. Using my phone. Oh wow. Watch the data plan, Jojo. If it goes too far, maybe like you can always watch the replay. I don't want you to get a huge bill. Bella Monte, thank you for your tutorials. Oh, thank you for watching. Rodeska, I've always wanted to ask, why bubbles and pins? I don't know. It was just something random when I began this channel. I needed a name, and I don't know. Bubble pins sort of like, I went through a lot of different names. The original name for this was actually blue bursting bubble pins, and that was just me trying to find a unique email address. It was like so I couldn't like I couldn't register bubble pins, so I ended up having blue bursting bubbles, and that ended up being my email address. But apparently you don't have to have a unique name for the YouTube channel, so that was nice. Jojo, trust me, I know that kind of pain. You're driving for 11 hours now. Oh my god, 11 hours. Oh dear. That sucks. Yeah, you gotta take it easy. You gotta take like yeah, I should send you that U-shaped massage. So maybe you can like that there's this stick that's like a U shape. You can like massage yourself while you're sitting on the chair. So maybe you can like take a break every 4 5 hours or something, go to like, I don't know, a Tim Hortons, or I don't know where you are. In Canada, it's a Tim Hortons in like a coffee shop, and park down and then massage your back. Because it is, oh man, I can't even stand being in the car for like 2 hours. 11 hours, that's intense. Cool effects. I'm sleeping well without pillow flat. Ooh, that's intense. That's really hardcore. Sturdy Doyles. I'm a beginner, and so I suck in Houdini and I need help with it. Oh, no problem. Just take it easy, one step at a time. Houdini can be complicated sometimes at the beginning. It can be overwhelming, but take it easy. Take it one step at a time. Pick a topic that you like water, 3D modeling, clothing, or RBD, destruction. Just pick a topic and then just keep improving on that one topic. Don't get overwhelmed by like the other topics that Houdini has to offer, because Houdini is intense. It can do almost anything. So don't get too overwhelmed. What is your GPU? Jojo is asking my GPU. It is RTX. One second. Even I forget. It's not the new one. It's the last version. Let me take a look. Let me see. Oops. Did I just do that? I remember it's an RTX 2080, I think. Let me take a look. Yeah, I don't even remember. Oh, it's an RTX 2080. So I've been really, really wanting to get an RTX 3090, just because that's the newer one. That's the one that was released, I think, early this year. Just because it has 24 gigs of RAM. I mean, can you imagine the simulations that we can run on it? It would be so... I mean, it won't be beneficial for everything in Houdini, but for some aspects, I think it will be very pleasant. Especially the rendering. It'll definitely help with the rendering part. Not with Mantra, but with other GPU rendering engines. Let's see, 3995? I think you mean 3990, I think that's what you mean? This one? The 64 core one? Yeah, definitely. If you have the money for it, sure. Of course. But this thing is like 5K in Canada. Don't buy it from Newegg. It's not 9K. That's insane. Let's take a look. Ripper 3090. It will definitely help you, especially if you use Mantra to render. 3990 will be excellent. I actually can't find it. 64 cores. Was it 64 cores? And at hyper threaded, it's 128. So you can imagine 128 little squares running in Mantra. That's so awesome. Like, I only have 24, and it's 48 threads running. So I get 48 of them going in Mantra, and it's decent. I mean, if I be patient enough, I can do animation with Mantra, but it starts to really slow down once you render volumes. So Mantra is still not my favorite. It's not my go-to rendering engine. But yes, if you have the money for it, the 3990 is definitely worth it. Rodeske. Wow, you sound like a lot. You know a lot. No, I don't. I know some of these questions are asked multiple times, so I get practice. I know some things, but a lot of things I don't know. Magnetic. I've been looking forward to this stream. I was trying to learn Claw Sim in Maya about 10 years ago. You've come to the right place. There has been some really nice upgrades in Houdini for Vellum clothing. Now today we're gonna focus on Vellum skinning. So there's a lot of comments here, but I think I'm just gonna get started because we're running beyond time and I usually run over because I have so much to talk about. So I will get to the rest of the comments in just a bit. If you do have questions, just post them in the comments like right here, and I'll get to it as soon as I see it. And I check the comments every so often during the stream, so no worries. Best that you get it in early. So I'm just going to begin. I'm going to read the rest of them a little later. Don't worry. Okay, so today we have planned. So I finally rigged Oliver. So we don't have to stare at that ladybug character anymore. I don't know if anyone got sick and tired of it. I was using that character a lot, the ladybug one, because it was already rigged in KineFX and ready to go. As for today, I have Oliver that I can use. So I'm just gonna show you a quick demo. Let me just change the background just so it's a bit more visible. Oops. Now I do have some manual tweaks done on this guy. So let me show you without the manual tweaks. This is what it looks like. Just because this walking motion is not designed for a character like this. This is Oliver has disproportional body part sizes. His head is like, I think the size of his body already. So this is not really suited for this type of animation. However, it was perfect. This was perfect just because that Oliver's not suited for this type of motion. It makes it perfect to demo Vellum skinning and how it can be used, how Vellum skin can be used to improve the motions and improve little details here and there. But one of the things I will be talking about is how Vellum skinning is not a replacement for these minor tweaks, for these rig pose tweaks. You may still need to have these rig pose tweaks to fix the joints here and there. It's not a complete replacement, but it will be an improvement on top of this. So that's one of the things that you need to know about. Okay, so I'm gonna so all this stuff is like an intro first. So let's get this out of the way. This is the intro of how I got into this tutorial and how this idea for this tutorial came to be. So it all got inspired by Jojo. He's the one, he or she, actually I don't know the gender. Jojo was the one to send me this link. And this is the SideFX Vellum cloth tips and tricks. So I basically took this and some of their techniques, but changed it up in my own way. Just because this hip file, their example hip file, is humongous. It's very high quality and very high poly count, which made it very hard to handle inside, even with my machine. So I had to recreate everything. But I still used their techniques and some of the concepts that they show, especially with the Vellum skinning. It's gonna come down. Here they call it fixing intersecting collision geometry. I call it overlapping geometry. So at the beginning, I was very confused what this was doing, and especially with even after looking at the hip file, just because that the character that they chose, like this model, wasn't too bad. Like it wasn't that it wasn't in overlapping too much is what I'm trying to say. And so I couldn't figure out what the use of the vellum skinning was. But then when I tried to use the vellum skinning onto my Oliver rig, that's when it actually really, that's when I realized how powerful vellum skinning is. Just because this was a very extreme character. He has overlaps everywhere, almost every single animation. So I'm gonna post this link in here so everyone can, if they're interested, I'll post it in the description as well. Oh, I think I just want to leave a bookmark where it was. Okay, I think it was right here. I'll read the rest of the comments later. So yeah, I reused some of the vellum technique taught in the SideFX tutorial, but it's implemented in a different way. So I took their main idea and I sort of like did it my own way. Right, today, so as I mentioned before, today we're gonna focus on vellum skinning. The vellum drape and clothing creation, and the vellum, like all this stuff here, and the animation you see here with this guy, that's going to be covered on Thursday. So today we're mainly going to focus on vellum skinning, which is a less complicated topic. It will be a nice build up and preparation for the Thursday one, because the vellum skinning may or may not, depending on what character you're going to use, will help your scene for the Thursday one. Yep, I already talked about that. Okay. So the rigging stuff. Okay, I'm not gonna go over how to rig this character because that's already covered in a previous tutorial. This one. So how to rig a character, in this tutorial, in the previous tutorial, I show you step by step on how to do this. So I'm just gonna copy and paste this link in there. So we're not gonna go over the KineFX rigging step by step, but what I'm gonna be doing is I'm gonna show you the main parts of it, just to give you an idea how the Oliver character was rigged. Not gonna go into too details about it. So let's take a look over here. Okay, you can ignore this. This was my first one that I used, the very first model that I used. But it's not, because the very first model I used didn't have UVs. And then I had to redo it again. So that's when I realized that I didn't want to redo this skeleton. But the size was off. The size was off from my teddy bear here. So like you can see, this is huge. The skeleton's like down there, right here. So what you can do is, well, I had two choices: either redo the skeleton or use this match size, which is very handy in Houdini. What it does, it has two inputs. So what you can do is feed in the two models that you're trying to match the size with, and I'm trying to change the size of this one, this humongous teddy bear, and I want to downsize it so that it matches this skeleton. What do? The match size will give you these options. Translate, you can even match the position as well, and you can scale it to fit. So you can scale it to fit which axes you want. So I want to fit the y-axis. Let me get the skeleton up, and there. Let me see if you can see the skeleton. Okay, here's the skeleton, match size. The position's off. There you go. There's the skeleton. I don't know if you can see that. So this is aligned to the floor. This guy's aligned. So I match the size. And then I align him to the floor. So he's standing aligned to the ground. Then I do a bit of transform to move him forward. So his position will match the skeleton. Just because in the match size, I didn't translate it to match the position. It didn't work as great. So I decided to do it manually, do a quick transform. which is not too bad. That saved me a lot of time, so I didn't have to redo the skeleton. Anyways, so there's your get rid of the template. Okay, there's your skeleton. Then you have your weights. So this is sort of like bone weights, and this will be talked about more thoroughly in the KineFX rig tutorial that was previously hosted. Now, what's neat about this that I thought was neat was that I used these agent walks. I don't know if you remember this guy. This guy is actually from the shelf tool, the character. So if you click the character here and then mocap by pet 3, if you click this, it will create this. It's him, and you can choose a walk. So basically, I chose this walking motion, and I'm remapping his walking motion to Oliver. And that's what the KineFX rig is doing. So his walking motion, retarget it onto Oliver, you get this. It's still a little awkward. Let me see if I can put them side by side. There you go. He wobbles a bit. Now let me, these are the manual tweaks I do with the rig pose. So let me see, I'm going to show you turning it off. Now later on, I'm going to show you what it looks like by turning the manual tweaks off and feeding Oliver into the Vellum Skin, in order to demonstrate what Vellum skinning cannot do. Sort of like the opposite, showing you what it can't do, so you know what it can't do. Okay, let's see. Let's see. I'm not gonna go over the rigging. That's there. The Oliver rig will be right. Since Oliver was a character that I sculpted in ZBrush, I can make him available for everyone. So I have the rights to share this with anyone. So I'm gonna share Oliver and the rig, and this KineFX rig that I have all set up, it'll be available for you. The only thing I cannot share is the Mixamo animations. Now, since these ones, like this agent walking, this guy is a character built into Houdini, so I can share that just because like it's just a node, it's just an agent node that you can actually just click it yourself and just hook it up. It's straight from the shelf tool, so that's something that comes with Houdini. So this makes it a lot easier to share the HIP files. So that's available for the Perk 1 and Perk 2 members. So I cannot share the Mixamo animations. Now, if you do want to, now I do have a Mixamo animation that I use for this example. Now the Mixamo animations are free, so go and you have to sign up for an Adobe account, but it's free. You don't have to pay for anything. You do have to download it yourself. Just because I don't have the rights to distribute the Mixamo animation, you have to go and download it and then stick it in. But all you have to do is come over here to the rest. To these two nodes. These two nodes right here, the rest and the animation, under this sticky note Mixamo animation. So the rest, all you have to do is just point to that to your Mixamo animation. Now, what you do, this is what you're gonna get. Like this folder structure is what you're gonna get. So just stick it in if you want to keep it organized. You can just stick it into this folder and just download the Mixamo animation and right into here. So all you have to do is come over to Oliver's rig. If you go to the martial arts one, it will be rigged correctly to the Mixamo rig bone structure. You need to know the Mixamo bone structure is different compared to the mocap to to this walk. So this walk is retargeted to the agent right here. This guy has a different bone structure compared to the mix and mo animations. So you can't mix them up. So this node here is different from this node. It is actually a different map structure. Now, if you really insist of making, like if you really wanted to use this Oliver rig structure and remap it to something else, like maybe you don't want to map it to a mix and mold animation, you have some other animation that you have. What you can do is come over here to the map points. So just click this, put the render flag here, come over here, have your mouse over this viewport, press enter, and you can see the remapping that's done. Now the blue one is the third party animation. In here, it's the mix and mo animation. The white one is the teddy bear. So all you have to do is just remap the arm to the arm to the hand to the hand of your respective animation if you're not using. Now this one is mapped to the mix and mo animation. If you're using something else, you're going to have to remap it. So that was a mouthful. I'm sorry for that. Okay. So now that we have all that introduction out of the way, I can actually start talking about Vellum skinning. But first, let me take a look at the comments. I think it's building up. Collected. Thanks for the tutorials. Cartoon. Oh, thanks for watching. I was magnetic. I was thinking you were a fan of bubble tea and collected pins. No, it's just a random name that I thought sounded nice. Because I mean, I was thinking of I needed a catchy name so I could to use that would search properly, but then I didn't know that actually there is another person that is using bubble pins and they're a foodie. So sometimes when you Google bubble pins, that person comes up too. And it's like, I was looking for something unique with a short name so I could get a domain name on it. And that would be a little catchy, easy to remember. So all in all, it ended up with bubble pins. And it's been sticking like that forever. Rodeski, he was driving, not camping, so he wasn't in tents. Not sure what that means. Retracted? Okay, I made a funny. What? I'm getting lost in these comments now. Jojo, I need an elephant to walk my back straight up and down. Oh, that sounds painful. Maybe a baby elephant, but that's still painful. I think they're really heavy. I'll send you that link to that U-shaped thing. That it helped my back a lot. You can actually massage yourself, so you don't need someone to massage it for you, and it doesn't take electricity. You don't need electricity to power it. You just use your hand to move it around. It's so awesome. Magnetic. If he had 2 TPs, he'd be 2 tenths. I see. Okay. Cool effects. No, $39.95. Oh, you really did mean $39.95. Is there an actual $39.95 that I don't know about? How many cores is that? I mean, that thing must be super expensive. Well, it's not on Amazon. Thread Ripper, $39.95. Oh, what do you know? There is a $39.95. Wow, how many cores? Oh, that's still just 64 cores, though. Just looking at it here. So there is a $39.95. Or did I get the number wrong? Beginning. Not even $39.70. Did I get the number wrong? Was it CPU? $39.90. Anyways, 64 CPU. I'm getting a little sidetracked. I'm so sorry. I am really into hardware. Love building my own machines. Love building a Threadripper. It's so easy to install. Okay, once again, 64 cores, 4.2 gigs. This looks like a beast. Pro. Yeah, if you have the money for it, but I think the 3990 might just be just all right. Just because you pay a premium whenever they add a number at the end, you know that's an upgrade. You pay a premium for that upgrade. So I don't know what the price point for this chip is. If it's not too if the price for the 3995 is close to the 3990, then yes, go for the 95. But if the 95 is, say, they slap a couple thousand more on it, just because you do pay, they usually, that's what, like, the marketing, they usually slap a premium for it. I mean, it does have bug fixes, though. Keep that in mind. If you do get the bug fixes and all that stuff. But Houdini is very multi-core, and it's very efficient already. I don't think you're going to see much. I don't have it, so I shouldn't actually say it. I don't have a 95 or a 90. So I can't say for sure if you'll see a significant improvement in the performance. I mean, with me, it's always the budget is more important because I'm poor. But if you have money, sure, why not? This is the more cores, the better. Just keep in mind, the more cores you have, it will eat up more of the there is internal memory used by the CPU, and that's different from the RAM. So there's a point where you get so many CPUs that it often bottlenecks the internal memory. So all the CPUs are trying to access the same memory, but they can only one die is able to access it one at a time, the memory one at a time. So you can imagine the lineup of CPU cores, and that's going to bottleneck your system. So don't go too overboard with it. I mean, this is a very high-end Threadripper. You should check out the price point for this and compare it with AMD's EPYC, because the EPYC is the next level. It's actually professional use with the EPYC, but you need to know the EPYC is a total different system. Your motherboard is going to change, and your RAM, I don't know what RAM they use. The EPYC is totally different. Your cooling system will change. Everything's different. So when you have to be aware of that, because that will cost you money. I mean, the motherboard is going to cost you money. The RAM, if it's different, I'm pretty sure it might be the same. It would probably use DDR4 anyways. But these are the things you need to budget for. Like, do crunch the numbers, do a bit of research, what CPU cooling fan it uses, how much it costs, and do a bit on that before you don't just go and buy it, is what I'm saying. Yes, I do. Maximilian. I do live in Canada, yes. I am excited to see more character rigging IK and so on. Oh yeah, you're gonna love this week. I have the clothing one for Thursday. That's where we put the rigs in clothes. So that ups it a level. I do have a previous, as I mentioned before, I do have a previous tutorial on KineFX rigging, so you can check that out if you are curious. Magnetic Oliver looks awesome. It looks like a threadbare. Also, it's a character. Oliver is a character I sculpted a long time ago. I think last year-ish, or 2 years ago maybe. Relax. No, the proportions of him are just perfect. Human bodies are just deformed. That's another way of looking at it. I see it that way too. Everyone should be shaped like Oliver. You are welcome, world. Awesome, Jojo. You can tell I'm getting lost in the comments. I'll have to perk up in the future. I am working my way out of overdraft at the moment. It'll be worth it, I think. I like to print 3D print all over. Oh yeah, definitely. I actually did that. I actually, if you click here to downloads, whoops, what did I click? Downloads here on my website. I actually did print him out. He has many different poses, siblings. So there's like the Sherlock Holmes one, detective, the candy, the meh. I have no idea what I was doing here. This is one of my favorites. He's reading a newspaper. This, I was going to put a cape on him. The cape was very hard to print out. So, and then ended up just him reaching for the stars. There's actually a few more of him. I've been saying this. I will post it up later. But this message has been here for like a year, more than a year. And I still haven't gotten to it. But yeah, the family looks like this. Oh, that's not big. He used to sit on my desktop. Now I have a bunch of crap on my desktop. Let's see. This, he's actually not too bad printing. Just a quick tip with 3D printing. He prints very well with supports. So if you have, what is that called? Oh man, I even forgot what that slicer was called. If you put manual supports on the elbows, just a small stick of it, it will print very nicely and it'll come off really easily too, given that you have a heated bed of some sort. Okay, let's see, what's your PC specs? Yeah, I have, like I was saying, I have a Threadripper 64 gigs of RAM. Let's see, yeah, I have this guy, the 3960 with 64 gigs RAM. Yeah, that's, and I have two GPUs though, but they're not the same though. They are both RTX 30. Oh, what was it? Oh, it's not a 30, sorry. It's a 2080. So it's the older model. I really want to get a 3090, but it's really expensive because it has 24 gigs of RAM. But anyways, I needed the two GPUs because it was taking too long rendering stuff. Because I make a lot of mistakes, so I have to re-render it multiple times in order to get it right. I finally gave in and got another GPU. But all physics and simulation goes on the CPU. I mean, Cinema 4D is better to have less cores. Oh, actually, Houdini. Okay, I'm getting really sidetracked. It's like half an hour in and we haven't started. But I will quickly go over this. Houdini actually uses some of the uses the GPU for simulations for some solvers, not all. So I'm just gonna show you quickly, as quick as I can type, especially the Pyro Solver. If you come over here, where is it? Was it in the Pyro Solver? Sorry, Pyro objects, smoke objects. You'll see the option to check OpenGL or OpenCL, was it? And that uses the GPU to calculate the simulations. And it's extremely fast. Unfortunately, it uses the GPU RAM as well. It cannot, like, you can't transfer it over to the CPU RAM. That's unfortunate. So the simulation can only be calculated for as much GPU RAM as you have, and it kapoots. I think it was over here. I can't remember where the check mark is. Oh, here it is, right here in the Pyro Solver Advanced tab up here. Use OpenCL. Once you check this, it uses the GPU to simulate the Pyro Solver, and this option is in random places in different solvers, and that allows you to simulate using GPU power. So it's much faster that way. Simplify 3D, thank you. Yes, that's the slicer. That's the 3D printer slicer that I was talking about. Okay, let's get started. Oh, let's see. Okay. Okay. Why would we need to use Vellum skinning? I'm just gonna put this. Okay, I'm gonna grab this one. You know what? I'm just gonna copy the node over. Oh, that's another thing I wanted to talk about. Baking. Baking textures is the last thing I want to talk about if we have more time. If we have time left at the end. Okay, I'm just gonna show you this. Now this is Oliver. Him walking. So this is Vellum skinned. This is cached out. Just because I haven't shown you how to set it up, so I pre-cached it ahead of time so I can show you what it's actually doing first. Let me put the render flag back here. I'm gonna move them side by side. Let's take a look. Okay. It's a little high. So the one on the left has vellum skinning. The one on the right does not. This is a pure rig. This one is a pure rig. I don't know if you can tell difference. Let's see. I want to show you the feet. This is right here. Okay, let's look at the one. This one is vellum skinned. So if you look at his foot, his left foot goes down. Look, it's squishing right here. Squish down a bit. I guess I should exaggerate the effect a little bit more. Squeeze down. So it looks like he's hitting the ground, right? Like there's a ground. His foot gets squashed a little bit when it reaches the ground. It's because his feet are too short. I can't exaggerate the effect too much. Otherwise, his foot just doesn't do anything. As opposed, this one is not vellum skin. So I want you to see what this is doing. His foot is a perfect shape. So, like, where's the ground? When you hit the ground, his feet is going to change shape a little bit, right? It should get flat when he hits the ground. Like, oh, there's nothing flat here. As opposed to this one. Trying to get the frame. There you go. It's flat. So it's a bit flat. It's squished because he's hitting the ground. So that's one of the things where the vellum skinning will do. It will improve little details of your animation. That's one thing. And another one is the martial arts one. So this is the one from the Mixamo animation. I'm just going to return this back to 0. Martial arts here. I'm going to... Okay. Oh, shoot. Okay. Now right here. This one is not vellum skin. So you can see that the hand overlaps into the belly. It just overlaps just because the animation is not designed for Oliver, for a character like Oliver. Let's see. So his hand is actually going into his body. As opposed when you vellum skin it, his body caves in. It makes room for his arm. So this improves the quality of the animation. It makes it more a bit more believable. Trying to get another one. Again, here. Yeah, I think he goes in. Yeah. So here there is some intersecting, what SideFX calls intersecting geometry, what I call overlapping geometry here. His hand overlaps with the belly once again, just because his belly is so huge. Here, after you vellum skin it, the belly actually makes room for the hand. So it curves in. It's like, okay, you can come in here. So that's one of the two things I wanted to show you. Fix overlapping. Scan, create ground effect. Right, because it has a bit of ground effect. Walking. Let's try this. The wrinkles frame 63. Let's show you the wrinkles 63. Just gonna give me 1 second. Side by side. So this is him trying to do a breakdance. The breakdance animation totally doesn't work with Oliver. So it looks really awkward. But what you can see is that he has more like sort of trying to find some wrinkles. His belly sort of wrinkles up here. I mean, so does this, but it looks really awkward. Look at this thing. It just bulges it up. As the Vellum skinning sort of smooths it down a little bit for you. Just because there's a force of gravity pulling it down as well. And here we also get, let's see if we get that floor effect. He's trying to do a breakdance turn. This one doesn't work that well for Oliver. This animation totally doesn't work for him. But I found this to be a nice example of how Vellum skinning cannot save you and how it can improve certain parts, but not everything. But anyways, we'll go through that in more detail. So this is just file caches. It's gonna. So this is not really needed. It's just here so I can demonstrate to you. Let me just double check the comments. If there's any questions. It looks like simulation. Would muscle structure affect Vellum skinning deformation also? That's a good question. Muscle structure. I would use Houdini's Fem for muscle structure. That would work with Vellum skinning. I don't think it would work as well. It depends on what kind of effect you're going for. I did try quickly last night to put it into what's it called? So I do use the Vellum struct. You can use the Vellum. They do have a tetrahedral fiber, which is the Fem, which is the muscle thing. It didn't work that well for me, but I didn't put too much time into figuring it all out, so it could work. It depends what effect you're looking for, but I wouldn't use it for something like to improve character animation for simple things. It still depends on what effect you're looking for. You get a really mushy effect. Okay, let's start building on the network, the Vellum Skin network. Huh? All right. The first thing we want to do is import the animation. So, let's import our retargeted animation. Let's use the martial arts one, because that's the more interesting one. All right, let's do this. Okay, I'm gonna just looking at my notes. Okay, let's give it a play. Just play it just to see if it works. Okay, so this is the retargeted animation. So it hasn't been skinned yet. Now, the first thing we want to do is that this topology is not the greatest for the Vellum Solver. If you want a more organic effect, you want to remesh it. Now, once you remesh it, you get this. You want to turn it down a bit. You want a little more topology to at least see the facial features a bit. So I'm going to leave it at 0.05. Now, if you were doing it yourself, because I'm streaming right now, so I would leave it at 0.05 to keep it low poly. You can turn this down like to 0.01 or 0.02 to get like more topology. Right now I'm hitting 2,294 points, so that's not too much for a character like this. You may want more topology. Now there's one thing you need to know. This is an animation, so it's actually changing. If you're going to remesh every single frame, the poly count's going to be different. So let's take this. Now it's 2,212 and we're on frame 9. Okay, let's go on frame 10. This is 2,205. So the point count is changing, and that's not good for Vellum simulations. You want to give it a static. You don't want the topology to keep changing. The Vellum Solver won't know what to do. It's going to say you keep giving me a different geometry every single time. I mean, the Vellum Solver is going to attach different different attributes to each point and primitives, and it relies on that to calculate the forces that will act upon the geometry in the next frame. And if you keep changing the poly count, that means it's a completely different geometry. The points are going to be very messed up. So what do? We want this animation, but we also want the remesh nice even topology. So we're gonna use the point deform node to get the best of both worlds. The point deform node, let me just put it down, will allow us to deform this nice topology. The remesh topology is the nice even topology that we need, the Vellum topology. So we're just going to call it the Vellum topology. I'm just going to give it topo. Oh, and also we have to set, so this is still changing for every single frame. So we're going to time shift it and lock it down to the first frame. So it doesn't change. We have the constant same topology every single frame right here. That's going to be the frame, the Vellum topology that we're going to be using to feed into the Vellum simulation. Now it's not moving. We still want the animation. So we need to transfer this animation that has the awkward topology, and we need to transfer that animation onto this Vellum topology. So that's what the point deform is perfect for. So what is the mesh to deform? Well, we're trying to deform this because we're trying to make this one move. Now, this wants a rest point. So you need to tell it. So you need to tell it what is the static resting animation before it moves. So this is what it does when it's not moving, because we had locked it onto the first frame. This is not moving. This is sort of our rest position. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to fit it into the second input of the point deform because it's asking for a resting position. Then the third one is, what do you want to deform it into? Well, this is the animation right here. So we're going to feed this. This is what we're trying to deform. So let's feed it into the last one. And what do we get? We get 2,294 points. This is the Vellum topology, the nice even topology. So let's double check it here. 2,294 points for the remesh, which is exactly the same. This is perfect. So we have the best of both worlds now. We have the animation and we have nice even topology. Okay. So now we can feed this into, we can start turning it into the vellum cloth. That's the first thing we need to do. We need to turn this into vellum cloth. Oh, sorry. So just type in vellum and then cloth. So you'll have the vellum configure cloth. This will turn it into, give it all the cloth properties. Now I'm just going to stick with the default parameters for now, and I'm going to set it all up, and then we're going to run it, and then we're going to tweak the parameters slowly so you can see a difference into what each parameter is actually improving and what it's doing to the character. The next thing we're going to do is stick in a Vellum Solver. There's actually another constraint we need to put down, but I want to show you what it looks like without it first. So we're going to leave room. There's some stuff that will go in here. Okay. Okay, let's run it right now. It just falls. That's because we need to tell the Vellum Solver that we're pinning this character to the animation. We need to tell the Vellum Solver this character is actually moving. Don't just grab the input from the first frame and don't forget to update it. You have to keep updating every single frame. That's what we need to put in. So let's put in Vellum constraints. Put this in. Oh, sorry, not Vellum constraints, not yet. Now let me delete this. Inside the Vellum cloth here, pin to animation. That's what we want. So inside the Vellum cloth, pin to animation. What points do we want to pin? I want to pin them all because it's all moving. The Oliver's moving. His whole body is moving. So we're going to put an asterisk. Take everything. Now, what kind of pin type we want? We don't want a permanent one because we want it to be flexible enough for the Vellum Solver to do its soft body magic. So we're going to choose a soft and choose match animation. This will allow it to follow the animation. So let's try it again. There you go. He's moving. Yay. So we're starting to really see it. Now that's where there's that intersection geometry. So it's already starting to work. You can start to see it working. You can see his belly starts to make area for the arm. But you might be thinking, this is not what we want. Like, he looks ridiculously low res. So, okay, let's try and drop down a Vellum post process. And this might be the first thing you think of doing, because this was one of the first things I did. This Vellum post process allows you to subdivide it and smooth it out. So now you got nice smooth areas. That's awesome. So you have a high quality teddy bear. You might think that would work. However, now let's go back up here to my original animation. This is the original rig animation with the messy topology. The thing is, I actually have UVs for this guy. So let's go on quick. UVs. So I actually have UVs for him. And they're actually UVs for every single body part because his mouth is a different material. I'm planning to apply a different material to. Let me show you the video actually. Here, see? This yarn is different. Yeah, I can't enlarge it. Okay, this yarn is a different type of material than this color here. So every single body part that changes color is a different type of material. So I need different UVs for that. If we look over here, this is what it looks like. Splat. Now, what I wanted to point out is that since we remeshed it, we actually lose a lot of the quality for the UVs. So let's put it over here. You can see this is way different compared to this. Now, let's go all the way down after the vellum. So after we apply our vellum skinning method, even after the subdivide, so after the post-process, it looks even worse because the subdivide is just making it worse. It's subdividing the messiness. So what do? I mean, I don't want to render it with like this, because this is not going to look right when you put your materials on. So what you can do, now let's get rid of the vellum post-process first. Now what handy node we know that will help us transfer animation from one geometry to another? The point deform. So let's do it again. Let's point deform it. Point deform. So what are we point deforming? Now, what is the geometry we want to keep? This is the rest here. Sorry, this one. The rest, the teddy rest. So this has the nice UVs that I want to keep. Let's put the UVs over here. So this has the nice UVs and that I want to keep. So we want to deform this guy. So let's plug it into the first one. That's the one that we want to keep. Now, what's the rest position? Now remember, the next two inputs, the second and third input of the point deform, we need the input of the animation that we're trying to retarget back to, that we're trying to grab the animation from. And where's the animation? It's coming from the Vellum Solver now, because the Vellum Solver is the one that makes it move. It squishes it. We want these little details to appear back into this geometry, into this one. So it's the middle here is asking for rest. This is moving. It gets moving. So we're going to have to lock it down with the time shift. And time shift, oh my god. We're going to lock it down to the first frame. And then we're going to, oops, not this one. This one. And third input, that's the moving one. So let's put it there. Now we have the best of both worlds. Let's see what the UVs looks like. Here. Okay, and let's see how he moves. So he moves nicely with UVs and with our vellum skinning. See this? So what's nice about this point deforming it back and forth is that you can actually take this point deform and adjust it. So say there's artifacts, like stuff happening. There's actually, in a different animation, Oliver has really bad artifacts that ends up, especially when the breakdancing. So in order to get like his foot flattened on the bottom, I had to like really adjust the radius of the point deform. So the point deform has, how do I know how to offset the animation? How do I offset your original geometry so it matches the animation? Well, how far do I look for every single point? This is the radius. This is the distance it looks for every single point. So it obviously, here for this animation, it takes a look for every single point and it takes that position and it goes back to your animated one and it goes like, how far are you from the original point in terms of position? What nearby points are around you? And it averages it out in order to offset your original point. Now that's like a whole mouthful. All you have to do is select this and just adjust this around until you see something you like. Basically that. And try adjusting the minimum points as well. It's different for every single animation and different for every single character and scene. So this, you have to find that sweet spot. I'm just gonna check the chat. Hey, just one of your videos really helped me out with some projects. University. Oh, university. Wow. Getting my hype feels into Substance Painter workflow. Yeah, that was a nice one. That was a very well received video I did. For all of you that don't know what we're talking about, I'm just gonna quickly bring it up. Okay, maybe I won't because I'm running out of time. But it's the Substance Painter workflow from Houdini to Substance Painter. Okay, here it is. So I'll just bring it up. Ooh, sorry. Ads. So yeah, it's this one. This one is a really nice one. This was one of the first lives I did public lives I did. Oh, so I'll just paste that in. Oops. Okay, that's the Substance Painter one. This is awesome. Thank you. Are you including the yarn material used? Oh, sorry, I cannot. Just because the yarn material, I didn't make that. It's a yarn material I bought online, so I don't have the right to distribute it. What I can do is show you where I bought it. It's not expensive, but it is rendered in Blender, so it is a Blender material. This guy has awesome. He's one of my favorite rendering artists that come up with these materials. So in the Blender market, if you search for double gum, this guy has amazing shaders. So it was only 20 bucks. This is awesome. You can make a lot of crazy things. This was just perfect for Oliver. I was like, oh, I can turn him into a real teddy bear now. But it works in Blender, so to keep that in mind. It's not a Houdini thing. But if anyone's interested, I can do a tutorial on how you can transfer the character animation onto Blender and then render it in Blender using that woolly shader. Use attribute transfer also. You can try that, but it doesn't always work well with UVs because the UVs get like the position is averaged. So your UVs, if you had UVs in a straight line, it would be dented. It would be like curved. So the attribute it depends how much resolution, because the attribute transfer uses the point position. If you don't have enough points, then you're not going to get that high quality of a transfer. There's going to be a huge loss. This way, if you're point deforming, because you're actually deforming the point, but you're keeping the UV positions. So it's a bit, I find it a bit better that way. Yeah, I don't think, it won't, I mean, you never know. Someone's going to give it a try. And if you have high enough resolution, I guess it may. How does it deal with poly jitter? If there's some kind of calm scene, then it will be transferred to the clothing simulation. Calm scene. The jitter. You mean the jitter from the KineFX or the jitter from the Vellum Solver? Or you mean the jitter from the point deform? Just tell me which one you're talking about. I'm gonna take a wild guess, and I'm gonna say that you're talking about the point deform jitter. So sometimes you might have like it bouncing like crazy, like this, but you're just playing it straight, and it's just bouncing. Like the point deform is gonna do this. That's usually that happened to me a couple of times, and I realized both times when it was jittering, the point deform was jittering like that, was because I fed in the wrong input. Like the mesh here, I had fed in an animated, oops, an animated mesh. So instead of locking it, like I forgot to lock it down here, you have to feed in the rest position into the first input. So if you fed in, let's actually do it. Let's try it. It's better than pictures worth a million words. Feed it in here. Let's give it a try. Oh, even worse. There you go. There's your jitter. I mean, that's pretty nice jitter. But still, that's like, if you feed in animation into there, that's where you're gonna get. It's gonna be different, like random results. Sometimes, like this is actually nice. The other times, it was just going crazy. So just be aware. Maybe check your inputs. So this has to be into the rest position here, into this guy. Let me color these. Put this on the side. Okay, so this is, you want the rest position. Line this up. I am obsessed with lining these up. I'd love to see it transfer to Blender. Awesome. I'm gonna add that to the list. I love talking about Blender. And it looks awesome with especially with Blender's new Cycle and Eevee rendering engine. I can actually do the rendering live. Like I can actually interact with the model live and even play the animation while rendering it live, which is so fast. So I would love to do a live stream on Blender. If you're thinking short film, I do. I want to. I've been saying it for the longest time. I'm trying to get a short animation together, but I don't know. It's really hard trying to work through the schedule and get everything ready. Like I have almost all the assets, and now KineFX is out, and I have almost, like, I just have to rig everything, make clothing for everything. So it's in preparation. Okay, remesh, use point to form to transfer set of clothing, structs, increase steps, UVs are lost. I did that. Use point simulation back original. Yep, we talked about that. So this is just using the point to form again a second time to transfer the Vellum Solver animation back to the original character model that has nice UVs. Notice for the walk animation, it goes up and right, this one. Okay, so this is the martial arts one. Let me just play it once actually. Whee. Okay, that's good enough. You get the idea. So we're gonna now look, since we have this all working, what we can do now is just change the animation. Super easy. First node, I'm going to bring in the walk. So I'm going to choose the Oliver walk. Okay. Now let's play it. So it'll just work because it's the same pipe. Just let it run a bit. So here he is, walking, 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 walking. It's going to run a few frames. Okay. So you can see here, I'm not getting that squishy effect. I want his feet to squish. That's because I don't have a ground. Now let's put a ground. Let's go to the Vellum Solver. Oh, I didn't put that thing in here. Oh. Okay, let's put a ground first. Okay. Okay. Here's the ground. You can see the ground right there. You can see Oliver's walking on thin air. He's not really touching the ground. It's because Oliver's very short. And the walk animation is based on the mocap. I think, okay, I really hope this guy is called Tommy. I don't really know if he's Tommy. I'm so sorry if he's not called Tommy. This built-in character from SideFX, I'm just gonna start calling him Tommy, just because I don't know what his name is. I think I heard in one of the webinars that one of the guys at SideFX called him Tommy. I'm not sure if it was this one though. Can't remember. Anyways, he's walking like this. Now Oliver's relatively shorter than him. So the root is pinned somewhere here-ish. And his feet are like, his hip is like, Oliver's hip is like rotating a lot more. So Oliver ends up bouncing up and down as a side effect of this. Now, what you can do is like, what you usually do in KineFX is pin the root down. So I do have it pinned though. Oh, I don't have it pinned. I lied. Okay, that fixes it. Oh, I didn't realize that last night. When did I not pin this? Okay, so what you can do is pin it down. I didn't realize it wasn't pinned because I was doing this really late last night. But in order to fix that bouncing, you can just pin down the root in the full body KineFX, and that's in the retargeting section, this here. In here, there's a full body IK. You can pin down, and he won't move. He won't bounce up and down. He'll walk more properly. Now, sometimes you may not have, this may not work. Pinning the root may not work. Just because you may have a character that has really awkward bones. Who knows? Just let your imagination fly. So where I'm gonna not pin this, and let's pretend it's pinned. And I'm gonna show you how you can fix it, an alternative way you can fix this bouncing. So let's go to the vellum. So I'm gonna go here. Let me get more real estate. So let's put this animation here. Now he's bouncing. Up and down, up and down. So let's gonna put a cube down. And this is gonna be the reference point that I want Oliver to stay. I'm gonna tell Oliver, stay where the cube is staying. So I'm gonna put the cube on the floor first. So let's lift it up. Half a Houdini unit, because the box is 1 to 1 to 1 by default. So moving it half a Houdini unit places the cube exactly on the ground plane. So what we're gonna do here is I'm gonna tell Oliver here to stay where the box is. What do we use? We use match size, which is awesome. But we're not going to actually match the size. I'm only going to use the translate part, the match position. They have an actually match position part. You don't have to actually match the size. So we're going to hook this up. Oops. No. Hook Oliver onto the first input, which is the geometry that we're going to move and move around. And what's a reference object is the box. So that goes in the second input. And let's see what it does. And let's just play it. So he doesn't really bounce up and down as much anymore. Up and down, up and down, up and down. As opposed to here. He doesn't bounce as much. And okay, I think it's more clear if I go like here. Give it a side shot. Okay, yeah, side shot. You can see the feet stays relatively on the ground. As opposed to this one. It just goes up, goes up and down. Now, of course, pinning it works even better. But this is an alternative way if the pin route didn't work for you. Because I didn't know that I forgot to pin it last night. So I came up with this alternative way to make him walk in place. But yeah, okay, I'm just gonna leave this on the side. You know what? I'm just gonna hook it up and I'm gonna ignore it because I'm gonna be sharing this file later on to the Perk 1 and Perk 2 members. So I want this here for reference. I'm just gonna ignore it. Okay, and we're gonna go back and pin him. Let's pin this guy down. Remember, it's in the retargeting section. Zoom in, go to the full body IK, and we're going to pin it down. Let's go back to the vellum. Let's see how the skinning works. Oh, I actually should go. Good practice to put an out at the end. Yeah, this is more stable. 5. Oops. 6. 4. Oh, 4. I want you to look, notice how his feet get squashed when he reaches the ground. Just a little bit. I love that little squashiness because he's hitting the ground. Remember, we added a ground plane to the Vellum Solver here. So there's a bit of ground plane right here. So his feet does get squashed once it gets pushed onto the ground. So that gives it that soft body, realistic feel, that little detail of improvement. Squish. I just really like that little detail. So that's one of the things that you can use Vellum skinning for. So yeah, the pin root. Oh, why I picked the teddy bear. Just because I think I mentioned this at the beginning already. Oliver has disproportional body parts. His head is actually the size of his body and feet combined almost. So this was perfect to demonstrate how Vellum skin can be used to improve certain things in the character animation. However, there are things that even Vellum skinning cannot save you. And I will show you. That's the breakdance one. The breakdance is doomed. It's just too intense. Let me show you what the breakdance is actually in a proper way. What's it supposed to do? So this guy is done better. So this is what it's supposed to do. So that's the breakdown. So you can see why Oliver is going to have a lot of issues with this. Now let's put Oliver right next to him. He struggles with it. Oof. It's because his feet are too short. So you can't really see him doing this splits. His feet aren't even trying. I can't do it. So let's feed this into Vellum, into our Vellum setup. Oh, okay. Why is it? Okay, it's cooking. Okay. Dance. Let's go down here. Oh, let's actually just look. Okay, let's look at the Vellum Solver first. Now, this is the part where I really like it. Squishes. You can see how his hand is squashed completely when it gets down there. Completely demolished his hand. Which is fine. Which is fine for now. Keep in mind that we're going to use the point deform to deform it back to the original geometry. So watch what happens when we go from here. Oops. Okay. Frame 17. So his hand is completely demolished. Let's go to the point deform one. Oh, is it me or does it keep jumping? There we go. This. Why does it jump? Unless I have this too much. Oh, there we go. Okay, so this is the point. Okay. Let's put this to default. The default's at 0.1. His hand looks deflated. This is one of the times where you have to adjust the point deform. Oh, if it would just stop moving. I think I need to restart my viewport 1 second. Okay, there we go. So this is let me hide others. So it just got deflated here. So we can use the point deform and adjust the radius. So this is, again, this is averaging. This is how the point deform knows how to deform the geometry by averaging nearby points around the original point. And now, having said all that multiple, just adjust this until you see something you like. Well, see, this just increasing it just a bit already helped it a lot. Because in the end, like even with all my explanations, in the end, you're going to have to eyeball it. So just keep in mind, the point deform is averaging the points. How many points is it taking into the average? Well, that's determined by this radius parameter. And then you get this. I mean, it's still rough. the breakdance is really bad. I just couldn't find a better animation to demonstrate the bad way of using Vellum Skin. Vellum Skin cannot help this. Oh, and another one, and I want to show you another one, is the walk. Here. So let's just change it over. Oh, it's gonna... Okay, I don't want to cook it, just because I want to show you in the walk here. This is the rig for the walking animation. Now, if you notice here, I have a node here colored in red. Now, I did some manual tweaks to the walk just so he would move properly. So let's take a look. This is what he looks. Oh, let me do the reference animation. Oh, here it is. Okay, so this is what he looks like. This is the rig. This is not the Vellum before Vellum skinning. So let's take this, the manual tweaks, and let's ignore it. Let's take out my manual tweaks. So his hands, because the rotations for this, the remapping of the rotations are too extreme. So his hands start overlapping into his belly. So let's play it. This is what it looks like in the rig. Now, if we just feed this directly into the Vellum skinning, into our Vellum skinning code, I guess I can call it code. This is not going to save you. Yeah, this, look at this. It's protruding into his skin. Because Vellum Solver doesn't know what to do with these overlaps. This is when you can't just feed it in. Vellum skinning can only help you in tiny details. To save you from something like this, you're gonna have to do a bit of extra work. Like you're gonna have to you're still gonna need the rig pose, is what I'm trying to say. The rig pose and your manual tweaks. You're gonna have to do that on top of the Vellum skinning to get the best results. Oliver has disproportionate breakdancing. Vellum skin cannot do. Yeah, that's something. So it cannot fix the large movements like the walking. Right. So you'll need the rig post. That's what I was trying to say. Large ones. Oh, you can use the IK joint config, right? But I'm not going to get into that. That's more of a rigging thing. Okay, let me take a look at the comments, because now we're going to get into the Tommy character. That depends. Is Karma good? Huh? Oh, Karma. Oh, the Karma rendering engine. It is faster than Mantra. I'll give it that. But it crashes quite a bit. It crashes a lot on me. There's a lot of stuff I'm not, like, there's a lot of, because it's still in beta. So sometimes when I'm working with it, I'm like, is it not implemented, or did I just click something wrong? Like, I can't tell the difference because it just doesn't, there's not much documentation out there. Like, I wouldn't recommend it for someone new to Houdini. Even if you're an expert, it's gonna be frustrating because one, you can't tell if it's working or if it's something that you did wrong, or if it's not even implemented yet. A few months ago, I was trying to render something in Karma, something super simple, just something with textures on. I was just trying to throw a bunch of textures that I made in some painter, and I was trying to throw it on, and it just wouldn't render. And I couldn't figure out if it was my problem or if Karma was supporting textures or not. And that was like a whole half day down the drain. So be patient with Karma. I see the potential there. If you're in a hurry and you need something for a client or production, I would not recommend it, because if you're doing something for a client, you want to be reliable. You want to know that it works, even though it may not be as fast. If you only have Mantra, then just go with Mantra. If you're doing a proof of concept for a client, or use Blender, I guess. That depends what you did in your previous life. What? I was going to make a joke about Karma and particle life cycle. So I just render it. Oh. I don't think Karma I'm not sure if Karma and particles work. I think I tried that too, because I can't. That's one thing about Blender, using Blender as a rendering engine. I cannot properly transfer particles from Houdini into Blender. Like, I cannot. I lose all the attributes. I lose the velocity attribute, the color attribute. I lose everything. I don't know why. I need to come up with a script to actually rewrite it back into Blender, but that's going to take time. Like, I don't know Blender scripting that well. I mean, I can do a couple of lines of code, hack there, hack here, but I can't write something properly. Not with a short amount of time, anyways. So I think I tried that too, with carbon particles, but I don't think it was working. But that was months ago. They might have implemented it now. If your computer crashes, you can blame bad karma. Yes, you can. You can. Oof. Okay, thanks. That's a nice joke. Okay, I don't know if anyone's tired. I am, but I really want to get in. Okay, at least let me show you how to bake textures in Mantra. I mean, we're running like almost 2 hours into the stream, but let me show you this. I'm not gonna go over this one. We're just really out of time, and I'm really tired. Let me show you the baking, because this one's really interesting. If you're like me and you use Blender as a primary rendering engine, this will come in handy. If you ever want to bake, if you ever want to render the built-in characters and the test geometry from Houdini, like if you want to render this character, let me get rid of this guy. If you want to render Tommy here, oh my god. Okay, if you ever want to render Tommy and you want to render him in Blender, well, you're gonna have to export these textures. And I'm going to show you how to do it with, how to bake the textures out using Mantra. So we're not going to need this. So right here, the mocap, I have the poses set to a neutral pose. Tommy here, this is mocapped. Sorry, not this one. Let me copy the Tommy. Actually, let me do it here. Let me do it live. Tommy bake textures. So now let's bring in that T-pose. We drop down an agent. Now the agent node is only necessary for the built-in Houdini characters. If you're bringing in something like I don't know, a character like Oliver, I did not use an agent node. I just want to quickly show you, like Oliver here. I used a file node because the original sculpted Oliver is a FBX file. Or if you have something else, you can use characters. Just type in character. You'll have a bunch of these. Agent character unpack, import, FBX character import. This one is really handy. Scene character import. I mean, you have a lot of different options. You can even just drop down a file node and just point it to your FBX file like that. So only use the agent for specific cases. And this is one of the cases because I'm the Houdini built-in characters are prepared a little differently. They're using the old bone method in Houdini. If we look, I know I'm getting a little off course, but if you look here, this is the old way that you would rig characters in Houdini. They actually have a bone shelf tool up here, and it would create all this stuff. Now we have KineFX, so we don't need this. But I like the mocap the mocap assets they left behind. Oh, sorry. I need to copy this. This is the mocap rest position. That's this. Oh. T-pose. I want the T-pose. Copy that. Let's go here. Let's bring him into the agent. Character rig here. So there he is. Now, we've lost all the textures. Let's go agent unpack. We get the textures back. Awesome. It's because the agent is a packed geometry, so you don't get all that fancy stuff. So you have to unpack it in order to get it. Now there's one thing you need to know about. Okay, let's just try and run it. Let's try and bake this out, and I will show you how it fails. So out Tommy. Now, in order to bake it out, make sure the render flag is on Tommy. Go to the out context. Let's take that out. Now we're gonna go bake texture. It's this one right here. Drop it down. Pull up the parameters. Now camera, this one doesn't really matter. Now what you want is this one or this one. Either one works. You can check both if you want. And then this, I find, okay, in my personal experience, it only works with TIFF for some strange reason. I tried a lot of different ways of doing it. It only seems to work with TIFF, and so I'm gonna, sorry, I don't want it to call this because I won't recognize it. Textures /OS. Okay, that's good. Now we UV object. The object, that's our Tommy character right here. So let's come here, click this, Tommy bake textures. That's the one that we did. Take that. And I believe that's all we need. Now, before I click that render, just gonna double check. Now that's this folder. Now this textures. I'm gonna delete this folder. Okay, and then I'm gonna render it. And it crashes. The horror. I hope I saved. Oh my god. Okay, just give me 1 second. Well, it baked something after it crashed. So that's amazing. But it didn't work. So I was trying to show you the way that it doesn't work. So yay, I succeeded. 1 second. I really hope I saved. Oh, dang it. I did not. Okay, let's do this again. Okay, I'm just going to do this really quickly. Okay, let's save. Let's take this out. Agent, no, I'm just going to do this really quickly. I'm not going to talk too much about it. Which one was it? T-pose. Okay. Agent unpack. So this is, oops. So this is the way that it's not working. Save. Let's go back out. Oh, sorry. Bake texture here. P. Textures. Okay. this one, this one. So it's unlit base color, unlit diffuse color. You can choose one. It doesn't have to, you don't have to have both of them. So this one, we would choose our Tommy Bake Textures. Accept that. Save. Now I'm going to go back here and I'm going to delete this. Okay, let's try it again. Okay, so it's not. Okay, there it is. Come on. Oh, right. This needs to be a TIFF. Otherwise it doesn't, like, it's still not working. But I want to show you how it's not working first. So you're gonna get, like, this is not what you want. Oops. Came to the wrong monitor. This is not what you want. This is just, it's not getting the color. It's not baking the color. So what we want is this stuff. So let's go back. I'm going to show you how you can fix this. Okay. Let's go in here. Sorry. Let's go. This is getting the agent from this one. This is the mocap that we're actually getting. Let's come inside. And I want to show you materials. Okay, let's right click, allow editing of content. Let's go inside, and this is the actual materials. Hide others. Geo. Okay, this one. This is the actual material that is assigned to this character. Let's take a look. So this is the casual one. This is the one we want. If we take a look here to the diffuse, it's actually grabbing a picture file here. So we can actually use this. It's grabbing it's from somewhere internally. Now this link only works within this mocap biped 3 node for some strange reason. I don't know why. If you try and use this link outside of this node, it's probably because the file structure is structured that way. But anyways, let's create a principal. Oh, right. This is a shop net. Let's come up here. Sorry. So this is one of the old shop nets. I need a material network. Let's go here, dig in. Let's create a principal shader. Now, let's take out the point color and we're going to change this to white because we don't want anything underneath. So white is the plain, it has a value of 1, so it's not going to add any color underneath. So go to textures, use texture, and we're going to paste that line in. So copy this material, and now I'm going to assign this material onto our character over here. So I'm going to overwrite this. Well, first of all, I'm going to delete that. Let's delete this material. Shop. Here, so he's lost everything. Add a material node, and we're going to reassign a new material. And that's that new material we created. And it gets the textures back. It's just in a principal shader, through a principal shader. Now let's try rebaking it. Let's go back. Okay, let's go over here, and I'm going to delete everything in here first. Now let's go in there and render disk. Let's go in here. Give it a second. There you go. There's your textures right here. So it only works through the principal shader. So this is quite handy for rendering stuff in third-party programs. If you want to render their Houdini's built-in characters, you can use this method to transfer the textures over. So this comes extremely handy for the rubber toy, just because I use the rubber toy a lot. It's the same principle. So this guy, except he uses the principal shader by default, I think. So you don't have to actually do all that stuff. If you look in here, yeah, he uses a principal shader. So all you had to do is feed it into this bake thing. So okay, you know what? Let's go here. Let's take this. Oh my god, it crashed again. I don't know what's wrong. Okay, but you get what I'm saying. Here, since I saved, let me do it again. Let me do that. Let me finish what I did. This is really annoying though. I think I'm running out of RAM. Let me close some of this stuff. No, that was the only thing I could close. Oops. Okay, so we're missing this. Okay, let's go to Geo. Rubber toy bake textures. Since the rubber toy already has the principal shader, we don't have to do all that stuff. All we have to do is go to here, and I'm just gonna turn this, switch it over to the rubber toy, and I'm gonna bake it. There you go. And then you can use this texture and go to Blender and apply it as a texture image. Because this already has UVs. Sorry. Yeah, there you go. It already has UVs. So when you transfer the Olympic, it as an Olympic file, ABC file, it will retrieve these UVs. Okay. Having said all that, is anyone still here? It was like almost 2 hours. Bad karma. There should be an autosave crash folder, I hope. I don't know. It crashes so often. I get so tired. It crashes at the moment when I'm the most tired point. Thanks. I have to hit the road now. Cheers. Oh, thank you, Jojo. You managed. I'm actually ending it off anyways. Don't worry. You've made it this far. I'm proud of you. Okay. So last call for questions, because I'm gonna end it off. Yeah, I didn't get a chance to talk about the Tommy retargeting, but it's almost the exact same thing as this. I'm trying to find the link. The KineFX tutorial. So this KineFX tutorial. The Tommy rig is almost exactly that. I just show a different way how you can rig it. I mean, I'm going to include the file, the hit file for all Perk 1 and Perk 2 users. So it'll be there, and if I have time in the next live stream, maybe at the beginning, I'll briefly go over how I retarget the Mixamo animations with Tommy. Now, just one last reminder, the Mixamo animations I cannot distribute. I can't share that. You'll have to go and download it, but all you have to do is just download it and stick it into that folder and open up the hit file. It should work. And point to it, and you have to point to the. So here, Mixamo. I have a nice sticky. It's pretty large. You can see it. Come here and just point to your file. Yeah, you can file a crash folder. You can find them. Yeah, they are annoying. Thank you. Let's see. File crash. Let me see. Crash recovery. Oh, crash directory. That is handy. Thank you. I will use that next time. Check the recovery submenu under the file menu. Awesome. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. I will. I'll use that. Hopefully, they'll make things easier on the next crash. Cool. So if anyone doesn't have any questions, I'm just going to end it off. Thank you all for joining me today and for another very long stream. I'm so sorry about that. If you have any questions, come up with any questions later on. You can still paste it in the comments below, and then I'll get to it whenever I see it. And again, all the Perk 1 and Perk 2 users will get this hit file Perk 2, I'm gonna start editing this video probably next week, and that'll be available for all the Perk 2 members, and all that will have is my fancy blue highlights and all that stuff. I mean, it's not 100% necessary for you to have that to learn it. I mean, it's available. The live stream is available for free. It's just that the fancy blue highlighting only accelerates your learning. So if you don't have time, if you value your time over that, like, it just accelerates your learning. That you can still learn the same thing if you watch the live stream. That's all. Cool. So I'm just gonna end it off, and once again, thank you all for joining me, and let me know how you like this tutorial, how you like the Vellum skinning. Would you use the Vellum skinning in your character animations, or do you think it's worth it? I definitely think it's worth it because it's not much work. Like this setup here, you only had to set it up once, and then literally you've seen what I've been doing today. All I do is switch the animations at the top, and it just works. I mean, yeah, you need to tweak here. Oh, I never talked about this. Yikes. Maybe I'll mention that next time. I added a struct here, like a Vellum struct, to make Oliver a little harder so he's not as soft. But it's not totally necessary because the point deform is enough to adjust to compensate for it. But if you did, I just wanted to show you another way to do it. But since I'm running out of time, I'm just going to leave it at here. So, remember, if you can, remember to join me on Thursday for the Vellum clothing and Vellum drape and clothing creation. So I'll see you all next time.